webinar, Childcare Essentials. I'm going to move us into the PowerPoint and share my screen with those of you who are in attendance. Bear with me as I get myself into the right spot. I think this is what we're looking for. All right, can someone give me a quick nod to let me know if I've got the Childcare Essentials up there? All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. So again, thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you here for the Childcare Essentials. This meeting will be recorded and we'll also be providing Spanish interpretation. A couple quick notes before we get going. We'll provide you with the best information that we possibly can, but you will always want to make sure that you understand it and potentially refer to an expert in the field in the event that you are going to be making a critical decision based on this information. We'll do our best, but you probably want to just double check. We will, as I mentioned, be providing interpretation into Spanish, and we'll also be recording this session so that other people can take advantage of it, even if they weren't able to join us this evening. The Q&A function at the bottom is the way that we'll be encouraging you to interact with the panelists. If you have a question, feel free to type it in there. The audience or the panelists will make a decision to respond either during the presentation, potentially responding to you separately through the Q&A function, or we'll go through and review those questions at the end of the session to make sure that we're all caught up. We'll also use the chat function to be able to communicate links and other information that may be useful for you as you're listening to the webinar. And finally, there will be a survey at the end. If you'd complete that, that would be helpful. It allows us to know a little bit more about what we're providing of value and other ideas that you may have about things that you would like to see more of. I'm Des Woodworth. I'm with the Office of Economic Development. I'm joined this evening by my colleagues Melina Iglesias and Elizabeth Handler, who are also with the Office of Economic Development, as well as a great group of panelists today. This webinar is part of a series of webinars that we offer, as well as what we call BizChat SJ, which is an opportunity to network with other small business owners, as well as answer or get answers to questions that you might have of a more general nature. But for instance, we're going to be offering a webinar on the 10th on preparing for the end of the eviction moratorium. Obviously, there's a lot of concern about that, since those people who haven't been able to pay all of their rent will have the obligation to pay for that. And the information in the webinar will discuss ways that you can do that effectively for both you and your landlord. A lot of it has to do with negotiation and with the legal aspects. Also on the 24th, after the Biz Chat on the 17th, we'll be discussing different kinds of funding options that are available that may be of interest to you as well. So I mentioned we've got a great group of panelists who are going to be able to cover the issues associated with childcare, all the way from, you know, I'm thinking about starting my business, or I've been working in a fashion, but I'm thinking about expanding, all the way up to centers that are in existence now, maybe are thinking about an expansion or opening additional locations. We're going to cover a whole lot of information within a short period of time. But you know, the plus of this is that it'll give you a sense about what's involved, and you'll also be able to make connections with the panelists. So Deborah Leah is with the San Jose Public Library Early Education Services. Raquel Dietrich is with the County Office of Education in the Childcare Resources. And they may not wave to you right now, but you'll get the chance to see them soon. She's with the Childcare Resource and Referral Program. Mary Ponce and, oh, excuse me, I got a little too happy with my clicker there. Mary Ponce and Sandy Knight are both with the State of California Department of Social Services in the licensing division. And finally, Swan Ha is with the Small Business Ally at the City of San Jose. And then we're going to wrap up with Mimi Hernandez from Prosperity Lab, and we'll talk about the entrepreneurship elements. So again, thank you for joining us. At the end of this, we will have an additional survey, as I mentioned earlier. I'm going to surrender the screen to my colleague, Deborah Olazawa, who I will hope will give us a quick introduction about the San Jose Library's role in early education.
Thank you, Des. It might be helpful to unmute. Can you all see my screen?
We can.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me today, and thank you for joining us. My name is Deborah, and I work at the San Jose Public Library in the Early Education Services Department. I am an early education specialist, and I focus on workforce development and support for people who care for young children. And that includes parents and grandparents and neighbors, all sorts of people who spend time with young children in many different capacities. We are well connected at the library. And so even if you are trying to build a business and you like attending the library and you don't know where to go and you think maybe the library isn't the right place for you to ask those questions, I actually encourage you to reach out, because we are connected to other organizations that can provide plenty of support to you. And so today I'd just like to talk to you about a little bit about what we do to support caregivers of young children at the library. You think that early education would be focused only on children age 0 to 5, but our programming is really targeted towards connecting children and their caregivers, and connecting caregivers to each other, and then of course connecting caregivers to the community and to resources. So our goal is to provide children and their caregivers of all backgrounds with easy access to high quality early education programs and resources. We want to make them fun, and we want to make sure that caregivers are getting the support and resources that they need to provide excellent high quality care for children. And so I just want to share a few things that we do before I hand it off. We do story time, virtual story time right now, but usually it's on ground. It looks like going forward, we'll be doing a little bit of everything. For now, I highly encourage childcare providers and families to join us for story time. It's really, really fun. We broadcast it live on Facebook every morning at 10:30, and you can see our topics here. Each morning has a special theme and a special librarian that is trained to work with certain age groups of children. So for instance, music and movement is on Mondays at 10:30 with Miss Lee, and she's amazing. So if you choose to register for this, you can see here that there's a link here to register for story time. You would actually join a closed Zoom meeting with the librarian. So you get to watch story time live, and then spend some time interacting with other caregivers and children in a private Zoom meeting. If you choose not to do it through Zoom, you can actually just watch live on Facebook, just the story time portion. We have other story times throughout the week, but I highly encourage you to go to our website or reach out if you have questions. We're happy to guide you and lead you in the right direction if this is something you're interested in. We also have childcare providers, licensed childcare providers, and childcare centers and preschools can sign up for private story time. So please let me know if you're interested, and I can connect you to the right people. We also really have a heavy focus on kindergarten readiness and supporting families with that. So we do preschool programming every day at 9:30. That is in a closed Zoom meeting. Again, we have highly trained librarians working with the groups of children on kindergarten readiness topics. So same thing, you just go to our library website, and I can put that in the chat when I'm done presenting, and you can always reach out to us if you'd like more information. Taking it a step further, the San Jose Public Library has a program called the FFN Caregiver Support Network. And FFN is a family, friend, and neighbor caregiver. So that person does not have a childcare license and is exempt from having a childcare license, because that person cares for one family, the children of one family, in addition to their own. So an example of an FFN would be a grandmother, or it may be an aunt caring for her nieces and nephews, or maybe a friend that helps her, supports her friend's family throughout the week. So if you have questions about what an FFN is, again, please reach out to me. If you scan the QR code here at the bottom of the screen, you can share your contact information if you feel like this is a good place for you. The FFN Caregiver Support Network provides tons of support for these caregivers. We do, at no cost to you, we do child development training, health and safety support and training, and we also connect you to a network of other caregivers. You get tons of supplies and resources, and if licensing is something that you would like to pursue, we can connect you to the right people. So we kind of have it all. It's the entry-level place for you if you care for children. Please reach out to us if you have any questions about what we offer or how we can, again, connect you to others in the field. You can email us, check us out on Facebook, or of course, give us a call. And that is it for me. I'd like to hand it over to Raquel from the local resource and referral agency.
Great, thanks, Deborah. Good to be with you all. I am just going to share my screen so you all can see my PowerPoint. Let me know if you all can't see, but like Deborah said, my name is Raquel Dietrich and I work with the Childcare Resource and Referral Program through the Santa Clara County Office of Education. And I work with a small team. Myself, I'm the supervisor, and a couple of our resource and referral specialists. Like Deborah said, we work closely together in helping to support providers. She often hands off some folks to me who are interested in the licensing process. But before we get into some of those things, I'll just give you kind of a quick review of what a resource and referral program is, and then what we offer and how we can support you if you are interested in becoming a licensed provider. So the R&R programs, the resource and referral programs, which we refer to as R&R often, they're funded through the California Department of Education and since 1976. And we're provide services, free services available to parents and childcare providers. A big part of our role is to help families find childcare that best meets their needs. But the other part of our role is helping to recruit and provide professional development or training for childcare providers. And then in addition to that is also collecting data from parents and childcare providers around childcare sort of supply and demand, information about vacancies, where are the childcare providers, in order to sort of help fill the gap or support folks in areas where maybe there's not enough access to childcare. Our specific goals here in our R&R program are pretty straightforward, that we want to make sure that families in Santa Clara County have access to information, the information they need to be able to find childcare, high quality childcare that best meets their specific needs, and to help the full variety of early learning and care providers in the county to have access to resource and referral supports to support their programmatic and financial success as well, sort of helping the families and providers connect together, and then providing professional development support for the providers along the way. And when I say full variety, our training, our support is for we have training that is open to family, friend, and neighbor caregivers, like Deborah explained, to licensed providers, to center-based providers, and we really want to support that, what we call sort of mixed delivery system, or system where there's many options for families to choose their childcare providers. We maintain a pretty robust database. It's a referral database called the Santa Clara County Childcare Portal that houses all information about all the licensed facilities in the county. And we work collaboratively, with the regional offices, who you'll hear from after me, to be able to keep the most current information, license information about providers, so we can actually provide those referrals to families. So we help parents find the licensed childcare that best meets their needs through either referrals that are online, by phone, email, or in person before COVID. And hopefully, as we move past and forward, we will be able to resume in person. Right now, primarily online, phone, or email. We provide a lot of training support and resources for folks who are prospective licensees or interested in becoming licensed to licensed providers. And that includes, like I said, center-based family childcare home providers, as well as family friend and neighbor caregivers. And we also provide information to the community and community leaders, or anyone who's interested, organizations with information about, as I mentioned before, childcare supply and demand, or helping to understand childcare issues to help create plans to effectively address those areas. Here quickly, you'll see our website is listed, and I'll pop that into the chat when I'm finished with this section. When you go to our website, you'll be able to see that childcare portal, where parents can go online to conduct a search of providers in the county, and they can also get a free account that helps them identify their provider, put in information about their child, to find a provider that meets their needs. And then providers, if I go to the next slide, providers can sign up for a free account so that they can receive referrals directly from families through the online database. You don't have to activate your account on the portal in order to receive referrals. Once you're licensed, we get your information from licensing, and we'll add you to our referral database, and we provide referrals to families, whether you're active or not active on the portal. But we encourage providers to sign up for the portal, because many families are going online to search for their providers, and they're doing it on their own, and they find that it sort of eases that process for them, and they would prefer it rather than calling or emailing us. So it's another avenue to be able to link up and get families connected with your services. The other piece of that is that as families are just doing an online search, maybe they're not creating the account to send their information automatically to you so you can connect with them. As families search, though, a great reason to be on the portal is also because you can update information around your hours of operation, your ages served, vacancy information. You can choose to publish your public contact information, like your phone or email. If you're a small family home, where that's more protected information or private information, you can elect to display that so that families doing an online search can see you and contact you once you become licensed. So it's another sort of avenue to be able to connect with families once you're licensed. So that's the sort of referral piece. On the resource piece of the resource and referral work is a big part is the training. And one program that I want to highlight that's really relevant to our discussion today is related to the Childcare Initiative Project. This program really is focused on supporting folks who are interested in becoming licensed through that process, through training, a series of trainings around the requirements. We plug you into different resources that are available to licensed providers, help you kind of go through the process, break it down bit by bit, and then also provide you resources like, let's say, if you need the fire extinguisher or something like that. Or a first aid kit. And so you don't have to join this Childcare Initiative Project or SIP program in order to receive support from us. You can call us anytime and ask us questions, and will support you one-on-one. It's SIP offers sort of a really more robust access to a variety of training and resources that'll just work to help you more and help you feel more connected to what's available. So that's one piece, is sort of us being here to help you navigate, being a resource to navigate along the process to find out information, basically anything. And if we don't know the answer, then we'll help connect you, we'll help find it or connect you to the correct person, whether it's licensing or whether it's the public library or whoever, or the city. Some other training programs that we offer that are relevant is we offer some of the training that's required to become licensed, the preventative health and safety training. We offer another training program for providers who have children in the foster care bridge program. So we provide trauma-informed practice training. And we also this year had partnered with the San Jose Public Library, Deborah's team, to offer program for infant toddler care training. We're hoping to build up a resource library in the near future for providers. We also have a health and safety training reimbursement program. That runs for most of the year, if you have to pay for your CPR or your preventative health and safety class, we can provide a reimbursement for a portion of the cost, or for the lead poisoning prevention class. These are some of the health and safety trainings that you need to become licensed, and then some of them need to be renewed, like CPR first aid every couple of years. So if you have to pay for that, the R&R can provide some support depending on our funding to reimburse for the cost of that. And then we can also provide you information about who offers who's authorized to offer health and safety training, because we don't just refer to our program. We provide you sort of the menu of services. If we offer it, we let you know that, in addition to other authorized training sources, because what we offer may not be the time that you need, including CPR and first aid. We're not offering that directly, but we can provide you information about who authorized training sources in the county. So I know I talked very quickly and about a lot of information, but I think the main thing, like Deborah and Des both said, is that feel free to reach out to us if you have a question. There isn't a wrong door you can go by. We are working collaboratively, all the panelists are, to make sure to connect you to the right place. So feel free to reach out, to email or call us, and we will help connect you or plug you into the resource, or actually provide you the technical support if we can offer it. So I'll pop some of my information into the chat, but it's up here on the screen if you want to take a picture with your phone. And that is it for my section. And I would like to just introduce Mary Ponce from our rep from the San Jose Regional Office, Community Care Licensing Regional Office, to give you more information about the actual licensing pieces. So take it away, Mary.
Thanks. Let me go ahead and see if I can. Oh, geez, where did it go? Oh no, I don't see my PowerPoint.
Mary, if you'd like, I have it. If you
Please, yes, if you could share it, that would be perfect.
All right, bear with me when I pull it up. Let's see, that's the June 3rd licensing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And I'm hoping that it opens. There it is. It's starting to open up. All right. And all right. Is it showing now?
Yes, but it's, I guess it needs to be in slideshow mode, but yes, I can see it.
All right. Let me, that's probably better there.
Thank you very much. Okay, so hi, I am Mary Ponce. I am the technical support analyst for community care licensing. I was invited here by the organizers to discuss the licensing process and to kind of go over some very important information. I definitely want to thank the organizers for this opportunity to work together in this capacity. And all of you that are here right now, your dedication to the childcare field is more important now than ever. And in planning for this presentation, it sounded like there may be some people who are currently doing exempt care looking to become licensed, which is great. So we wanted to go over some very important information. What you're seeing is a matrix of the different forms of childcare. There's exempt care, unlicensed care, and licensed care. For exempt care, you're supervising one family outside of your own. And this is going to be, of course, family that is related by blood or by marriage. Unlicensed care is supervising more than one family outside of your own. And then licensed care is supervising in the capacity of children that you are licensed for. So exempt care is not regulated by community care licensing. No one comes in and does an inspection, as long as you're kind of working in the confinements of just supervising one other family. Unlicensed care is not legal, and it can trigger a complaint investigation. And then licensed care, of course, is you apply for a license, you become licensed, and you're regulated by community care licensing to ensure the health and safety of the children in care. Let's see. For unlicensed care, when a complaint is generated, a licensing program analyst goes out to the alleged unlicensed facility, and they do a full investigation to determine if children were being supervised by someone outside of the confinements of being exempt. And the licensing program analyst will either work with the person to either become licensed or to discontinue care. And if for some reason the unlicensed care is continued after working with the licensing program analyst and with the regional office, it could result in a civil penalty, or it could be turned over to the DA's office for criminal prosecution. So it's very important that we don't go into the unlicensed care, but we stick with either exempt care, or better yet, become licensed so that we can make sure that the children are safe in the facility and that everyone's fingerprint cleared so that it's safe. So if you could go to the next slide for me, please, Des. Thank you very much. Okay, so in order to become licensed, you must first go through orientation. Currently, right now, it is only provided online, but it sounds like soon that they might be having in person, which is phenomenal. There is it's one orientation. There's both Spanish and English. The fee is $25 and plus a $2.43 processing fee. And if you can go to the next slide. For centers, which it sounds like there might have been some centers represented today in this webinar, there are two orientations that you would take. The first being the Child Care Center application orientation, the second being the operation and record keeping orientation. So for the applicant, they will need to take both. They are required to. For any admin or directors of the center or the facility, they're only required to take the second orientation, which is the operation and record keeping. For the first orientation, there is a fee of $50 and plus a $4.85 processing fee. Again, these are currently only given online. However, it sounds like in the future they will be provided in person. The second orientation fee is only going to be $4.85 processing fee. Once you're done with the orientation process, you will want to print out your certificate. Always keep a copy of everything you send in. and then include that with your application. And you definitely, I would highly recommend partnering up with any resource and referral agency. So that way you're able to get way more one-on-one help, and they have a ton of amazing programs that, that you guys can get involved in. So if you can go to the next slide for me, Des. Ultimately, those are the key important parts of fitting within the confinements of either exempt care or having a license and getting a license. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the San Jose Regional Office. I have the phone number up there. We do have a general email if you have questions that need to be answered. And then also what I would like to offer is we do have an amazing childcare advocate program for your area. Natalie Dunaway would be the childcare advocate. This is her phone number on the screen right now. And if you are a licensed care provider, you can absolutely call her, and she will give you all of the important information that you might need. So that is it for me. And thank you very much. Thank you again for allowing me the opportunity for this.
Thank you, Mary. And I think we're going to go back to Raquel briefly for a couple of closing notes from her.
Yeah, I just was going to mention that there are, like Mary said, there's a lot of benefits to becoming licensed. One is just being able to, a difference in income, basically, is being able to, you'll be able to care for more children as opposed to a family, friend, and neighbor, and take advantage to some of the sort of state or federal programs that licensed care can bring. For example, family, friend, and neighbors and licensed providers can receive subsidy payments, or families get help paying for childcare, and they are on different programs. And so they choose who their provider is, and there's the reimbursement they receive is going to be higher if they're a licensed provider. So there's definitely income benefits to becoming a licensed provider. There's the health and safety components that Mary highlighted, that families, when they call the R&R and are looking for childcare, they want to know about who's regulated or who's not, and how they're regulated, and if health and safety pieces are monitored, and who's monitoring the health and safety pieces. And it helps provide families a peace of mind with those pieces. And there's other programs that are available. Like one I can think of right now is, let's say, the Child and Adult Care Food Program, which which is available to FFNs as well, but also to licensed family childcare providers to help reimburse for the cost of, if you want to safe serve meals in your program. And you can just have one child in your program enrolled, or up to your capacity. So there's many programs available, many benefits to becoming licensed. And I think it's just deciding for yourself if it's going to be a good fit. So I just wanted to highlight some of those benefits. I will give it back to Des.
Great, wonderful, Raquel and Mary. Thank you very much for the information. There's obviously a lot there, and it's good to be able to connect up with the people who are going to be able to help you keep things on the right track from the beginning to the end. Somebody who can also help keep you on the right track is Swan Ha. She's with the City of San Jose Small Business Ally Program, and she's going to talk with you about the types of building and planning permit assistance that's available through the Small Business Ally Program. Go ahead, Swan.
Thank you, Des. Allow me to share my screen. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Swan Ha, the City Small Business Ally. Today, I will be talking about the San Jose City's home-based business requirements for residential childcare business operation. And first off, I would like to go over my role as the City Small Business Ally. I will define what is a home-based business. explain the license and requirements, and then I'd like to dwell deeper into the specific criteria for childcare or daycare business. To start off, as the City Small Business Ally, my role is to help and coach small business customers through the city's and, in some cases, the county's permit process. Our program has two people, our program manager, Juan Brelli, and me, Swan Ha. Juan can speak English and Spanish. I can speak English and Vietnamese. So together, we can help customers in English, Vietnamese, and Spanish. And as the City Small Business Ally, I typically help customers through the development processes to find out what is triggered with their project, including pre-application assistance. We help them answer any inquiries, provide checklists of logical steps, get approval requirements, provide preliminary review meetings for their design consultant, provide cost estimate for their project. I'm basically the liaison between the customer and our city staff to navigate the permit process, the inspection requirements, and business registration requirements. Our program webpage is displayed on this slide, sanjoseca.gov/business-coach. The site is streamlined to provide an easy and consistent presentation of the city's process and requirements. Now I'd like to zero in on home-based businesses. This information I'll be sharing is also, you can also find it on our planning division's home occupation brochure. I've attached the link to the handout here. So a home-based business is also known as a home occupation. It's a business or a commercial activity that is conducted from a home. This can be from a single family home, a duplex, an apartment, mobile home, or any other types of residential properties where the residential use is the primary use and the home business is only incidental. It's the incidental use to the dwelling. I'm sorry, my laptop is acting up. So here are some examples of some home-based businesses: consulting, tutoring, craft making, cottage food operation, and of course, childcare daycare. Home occupation do not require a permit if a planning or building permit if you're not planning to make any changes, structural changes to your home. You're only required to register your business with the City of San Jose. Some people call it a business license, but the city is not providing you with a license to operate your business. It's only an annual tax that you must pay in order to operate your business. And lastly, to ensure that your business will not negatively affect the neighborhood, all home occupation must conform to criteria set forth by the municipal code, which I will go over. Here, if you're running a business from your home, you may want to contact your insurance agent to learn how it will affect your homeowner's insurance. You may need to update or purchase a separate policy to protect your equipment, your business equipment, against any loss or damage. If you have client or customers coming to your home for business purposes, then liability insurance would help protect you against possible personal injury or potential negligence claim. And now I will go over the city's criteria to operate a business from your home to ensure that the neighborhood is not adversely affected by the operation. And these criteria apply to every type of home occupation. And I will go over location where you can operate your business, client, employee, and hours of operation, signage criteria, commercial vehicles, excuse me, and environmental issues and environmental impacts. And so you can operate your home-based business in the main residence, except bathroom and hallways. You can use your attached garage to operate your business as well, but only if you can retain the same number of covered parking somewhere else on your property. For example, if you're using your attached garage, you can have a carport on the side or the rear of your property. If you have a detached garage or an accessory unit, you can also use up to 100 square feet of the building, but only if the required covered parking is not displaced. However, you cannot use the carport or yards to operate your home-based business, and that includes to store storage use. Only 2 clients are allowed in your home at any one time, except for childcare businesses, which I will go over. But if you were to have a tutoring business, then you can schedule it where you can only have 2 clients at a time. Clients are permitted on the residence only from the hours of 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. All employees or unpaid volunteer of your business must actually live on the property. As for signage, your business is allowed 1 attached or 1 freestanding sign that cannot exceed 1 square foot of sign area. The city sign ordinance doesn't allow window signs, internally illuminated sign, or sign posted on trees or fences. Your business is also allowed 1 commercial vehicle for your business, and it cannot weigh more than 10,000 pounds. The commercial vehicle must be kept and garaged or parked on your property. Obnoxious odors, vibrations, glare, fumes, dust, electrical interference, or noise must not be detected from outside of your home or through any common walls. And now I would like to dwell deeper into the other requirements for a childcare or daycare business. The city identified childcare business as any regularly scheduled supervision provided to children under the age of 18 when they're not with their parents or legal guardian. For a childcare business as a home occupation, you may care for a maximum of 14 children under the age of 18, including any children living in the home. The state of California allows family childcare home occupation by right, so approval from local government is not needed. You will not need a planning or a building permit with the city of San Jose. However, you will need to get a family daycare license from the state of California. You must register your business with the city's finance department for the business tax certificate. And if you plan on supervising 7 or more children, you must also get a fire department clearance permit. They will be evaluating whether your home has appropriate safety precaution in place, like fire alarm or smoke alarm, fire extinguishers. And lastly, if you're planning to make any structural changes to your home, changes to the floor plan, in order to operate your childcare business, a city building permit is required. Specifically for childcare, home childcare businesses, the hours of operation is different from other home occupations. I mentioned 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. earlier, but for childcare, you can operate from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. And on the last link is our city's brochure for childcare center. You can find more resources and all the information I'm providing today on that link. And if your home occupation, your childcare home occupation is wildly successful and you'd like to rent or purchase a commercial property to supervise more than 14 children, you can open a childcare center. For a childcare center, there is no maximum limit on the total number of children you can care for. However, in addition to the previous requirements I've mentioned, getting a state of California license, registering your business, fire clearance, building permit, you will also need a city-issued conditional use permit. And that is issued by the planning division. A conditional use permit, certain land use proposal, in this case, a childcare center, requires a conditional use permit to ensure that the business will be compatible with its surrounding area. The childcare center must show that it will not impair the character or the integrity of the neighborhood. It needs to adhere to guidelines for traffic and circulation. You need to show parking and drop-off zones, have noise control and facility operation. This will help to achieve a measure of compatibility with the surrounding neighborhood. For the conditional use permit application, you are also expected to submit an operations and management plan that shows and provide details of these aspects of your childcare center. A community meeting may be required as part of your conditional use permit application review process. So you're encouraged to contact your contact residents, your neighbors, other business owners in the surrounding area to discuss your project before you apply. And once the application is ready, our planning staff will schedule your project for planning commission hearing. At this public hearing, you and members of the public can voice your support, or unfortunately, if there's competition nearby, they can come and voice disapproval. And the planning commission hearing decision may be appealed to a higher committee, which is the San Jose City Council, whose decision is final. Typically, the conditional use permit timeline depend on the complexity of the project as well as public interest. So I've seen projects can go a little as, it can take them around 4 to 8 months. I've seen projects gone a little longer. However, the typical timeline is around 6 months for this use permit. And lastly, if you would like to expand your business to a part of an existing school or a church, you do not need a conditional use permit, but all the other types of clearances and permits may still be applicable and required. Thank you very much for allowing me to share this presentation with you. And I would like to hand it back to Des.
Wonderful, Swan. Thank you so much. Again, lots of good information in there. Good guidance as to the kinds of things that you would need to anticipate, both in terms of being a licensed child care provider, but also a center operator in, potentially in a school or commercial space. But also the home-based businesses information is great to have as well. Thank you so much for that. And our last speaker before we do questions and answers, if there are any that need to be answered, is Mimi Hernandez, who's going to talk about the entrepreneurship side of things, past the licensing and regulation to what it is that you want to know as you're thinking about expanding your business or starting up your business. So thank you very much, Mimi from Prosperity Lab.
Hi, good afternoon, Des. Do you guys want to share my presentation? Do you want me to share it?
If you have it, it would probably be better for you to control it. You can see that Mary got me to change the slides on occasion, but I was a little slower than she probably would have been. So
excellent. So good afternoon, everyone. Let me put this here so I don't get freaked out by not seeing my audience. Thank you. So I want to thank everybody, and wow, what a wealth of well-connected stream of just resources here for reopening the daycare centers. I raised 4 children myself, and had it not been for having adequate license care for my children, I would not have gotten very far. So I want to, first of all, thank everyone who made, I think the program at the time was Choices for Children, and it was amazing. So I can imagine the families right now that we're talking to are eager to get going in their adventure. So I will attempt to grapple a subject that could usually take 12 hours in about 25 minutes. And I'm super happy to answer any questions or follow up with anybody that has questions on specific things. So I'll start by talking a little bit and introducing my organization. Our name is Prosperity Lab. We are a nonprofit based here in Silicon Valley in San Jose. We were born last year, but we have been in the space of working with small businesses in Santa Clara County and the Bay Area for the last 10 years. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the childcare entrepreneurship piece. Again, Prosperity Lab. So our mission is to to provide economic empowerment and tools for communities that have not had a lot of investment, mostly women, immigrant communities, micro enterprises. And our goal is to really reduce the socioeconomic disparities and help them to achieve economic advancement. You know, for me, everything that we do should result in prosperity for the folks that we serve. Very simply, what we do, if I can just capture it in 3 small bullet points, is that we're trying to bridge the digital divide. We do we train business owners on basic computer skills. We provide financial literacy tools and education, again, focused on small businesses, women, micro enterprises, and immigrant communities. And the piece that we're here for today is our economic empowerment and self-sufficiency, which results in entrepreneurship. That is one of our very strong assets that we have. We have an amazing team that delivers this program. Our team has been teaching together on and off for the last 10 years. And, you know, we have a really cohesive group of individuals that really complement each other's strengths. We are able to do the training both in English and in Spanish. I think we have a really good, we've earned a really good reputation in the micro enterprise world here in Santa Clara County because we're constantly developing new programs. We're learning from the individual work that we do with businesses, and we're able to go back and either add or subtract topics. And one of the things that we do best is that we work with partners like Juan and Juan, and you know, we're looking forward to working with Raquel and Mary and Deborah to making sure that this summer we're able to get the entrepreneurship piece and the training out to those of you who really would like to start either a home daycare center or a daycare center brick and mortar, as Juan was speaking about. One of the things that I would say that, you know, just to kind of start going on entrepreneurship, and the reason why I put this little here, it's full of opportunities and challenges. And the same thing that creates a challenge also creates an opportunity. So for example, in the last year, we had the shelter in place that closed a lot of daycare centers completely down. There was concerns about the exposure to children and to families and to essential workers that were providing the daycare. Now that everyone is trying to reopen with the suffrage of losing clients, and you know their enrollment has been reduced, or their incomes and revenues have been reduced. Those all present challenges that already exacerbated a problem that already existed in the childcare programs. Now, all of those things can also be turned into an opportunity. And that's actually why we're also here today. We have not only the opportunity of finding pathways for families to reopen either their FFNs or their brick and mortar daycare centers, but we have an opportunity to really create a program within your childcare offerings that is unique, that addresses the new challenges and concerns about, you know, health. You know, maybe you can take on less children and, you know, charge a little bit more to increase your profit margin. You know, it also there's less centers open and less daycare providers right now. So, there's openings in the market as well, sadly created. Or maybe this is your opportunity for you to say, I've been doing this out of my home. I really would like to scale and, find a nice location where I can take care of more children and grow so that I can better weather any future storm that may happen to the finances of my community. So, like I said, the challenges and opportunities can both be addressed through entrepreneurship. There are many reasons why people engage in entrepreneurship. For me, myself, one of the main reasons that I find that people do it is that they're able to manage a family schedule. And I think I was reading there about 33% of people interviewed recently expressed that they are going to be shifting their careers, whether they're going to be going from being someone's employee to being their own boss, or maybe they thought, okay, I better just go work for a company and safeguard myself. Either way, the population goes or the trend goes, daycare centers are going to be a vital area in which we're going to be able to experience the recovery that our community needs. So entrepreneurship, it could be for different reasons. So things to consider. If you're thinking about opening your daycare center at home or as a brick and mortar, so you want to, these are some of the reasons that I could come up with. And when we were talking with the team, so some people come to us because they want to be their own boss. Others, like I said, well, they want a different challenge. Maybe COVID shifted your priorities as far as maybe you would like to be able to stay at home and maybe care for some family members or some neighbors' children so that you're able to enjoy them. Maybe like me, you couldn't find a job that you like, so you just started your own organization. And definitely with many of the folks that are coming back that had been shut down, there is a huge demand for the services of licensed and able bodies that can care for the children while we all get back to work. This is the part that is going to take a while. So if you are considering opening your daycare or running something from your house, there's going to be a lot of areas where you're going to have a lot of questions. And I'm hoping that between all of the folks that went before me and, some of the trainings that are going to be coming up in the summer, that we'll be able to address some of these considerations that are really important besides the permit process and making sure that you are offering something unique, making sure that you're acquiring some of the soft skills like child development for the caregiver support network and the childcare advocate or the resource and referral guide. Besides all of that, I want to let you know that you do have resources for other aspects that are going to come to this complex daycare center industry. So for example, you want to make sure that you're considering what your legal structure is going to be. And for that, you definitely want to check with the tax person because whether you become an LLC, you incorporate, or you remain as the sole proprietor, you really should do it for the reason of what is going to be the best advantage for you at the time that you're paying taxes and how you're going to protect your liabilities. How are you going to access funds in case you want to expand or you want to buy equipment or you need working capital? Are there grants out there? Are there incentives? And all the folks that came before me are a really great avenue for that. If not, when we kick off the next program, we'll make sure that we have a list and we might be able to tap into some of those resources and we can point you in that direction. What is your strategy for growth? Are you just buying yourself a job? Or are you planning to become a business that is going to have a great opportunity of expansion? So those are some of the things that you want to start thinking about. Very important. You need to understand at what point are you breaking even during the day and during the month, and what your percentage of profit margin is going to be. This is key to your strategy of being a long-term business owner. And we saw a lot of people that had not been ready for that in the previous year. So hopefully we all learned that key point of understanding the finances and where we're at with our revenues. The consideration is also the self-sufficiency piece of being able to be a business owner and be able to create jobs for others who are passionate about taking care of children like you are. Very carefully, the hiring and training of employees that are going to be handling children is very delicate. So you want to make sure that you understand what your rights and responsibilities is going to be as a business owner, and how you can best utilize the talent that is out there for your daycare center. Just equally important, once you do find that great employee that just loves taking care of children and is a great asset to your business, how do you retain them? And that should be part of your growth strategy. So how are you going to incentivize those really great folks to stay on and to be part of your business growth? And lastly, one of the things that I think it's a new, but should have really been all along here, is how are we managing this COVID or any outbreak that happens in the future? I think we all knew it, and I'm grateful for the reminder to wash my hands 5-6 times a day. These are things that were common sense. We all got away from it, but as a childcare provider, this is going to be a key area for you. And to me, this is a really great area of opportunity, because you might be able to distinguish yourself by being able to highlight some of the compliance or some of the plans that you have in order to mitigate this newly found danger to our community. So making sure that you have a plan and that you're able to communicate that effectively to your clients to build that trust and to retain those clients. The last thing I would say, and I know I said that last time, is for me as a risk manager, which was my first career, making sure that you have a plan to mitigate all of the different perils that are going to come at you as a business owner. And with children, there is some delicacies, and there's protections, because they are the most vulnerable citizens in our community. So understanding how you're going to manage any risk that comes across, whether it's something that you can prevent, whether there's something that you can save for, you can insure again, or better than anything, have a plan. So when somebody falls, before that happens, how are you going to maintain the cleanliness? What is the process when there is an accident? What kind of risks need to be communicated to the parents that occur to the children? Planning also where how your equipment needs to be set up in order to prevent accidents from occurring. So these are some of the things, and I'm not even diving in, but I do invite you to join us later on in the month of July, when my team and I are going to really dive into this and provide you with some of the tools, and where we will be able to follow up and work with you individually to get your business going in a way that is going to be long lasting for you, and that is going to be a win-win situation for you and the parents and the children that are part of your daycare center. So what is next at this point? If you are here and you like what we are sharing with you, and you say, yes, I want to join the FFN, or I want to rent a brick and mortar and get going, and I'm going to call Raquel and Deborah and Mary and make sure I understand the permit process. Step one, do you want to do it out of your home? Do you want to open an actual daycare center? So either of those two are fine. Just decide really what you can commit to long term. After that, there's several ways in which to enter a business. You can start something from scratch at home. You can start again with a brick and mortar, or you can buy an existing business. And I suspect that at this point, there might be someone who's really needed to take on a partner, or who wants to sell their existing daycare center business. After you do that and you make those decisions, make sure you find support. You have folks here in this call, like, Juan is usually who I refer to. The Boss Network, the group that has brought us here together is the Business Owner Space. There is amazing partners that can help you with technical assistance, that can help you find capital. You can come to free classes or relatively low cost classes in a number of languages and at times that will work for you. We have the San Jose Public Library, who has an amazing space in your community that can provide you those services. You have, of course, myself, Prosperity Lab, and my team. We have SCORE, which is the senior core of retired executives. Those folks are full of just information that they love to share with business owners and potential entrepreneurs. We have the Small Business Development Centers. I believe there's 2 for us. And again, all of those services are free. They're already paid for by your tax dollars and investment from the county and the state. And we have New America as well. So those are all centers that are here in San Jose that that can help you if you are ready to go on your journey. And then, of course, whenever you are going, make sure you attend a training that is specific to the industry, because sometimes we can, as nonprofits, we can share a business training with you in a very general sense. But if we are talking about daycare centers, we're talking about a very specific industry. So you want to make sure that you attend a training that is specific to your industry. So, of course, what is next? From our view here at Prosperity Lab, we have a number of things that are starting. We're going to be doing the home-based daycare center program starting July 14 with the folks over at the library. We're also going to, in the later part of August, we're going to do one for the brick and mortar daycare centers. I think we'll do it in Spanish, and later on we'll do it in English. We also have, if you do have one, and you want to get some free advertisement, we can help you with your marketing plan. We can help you with a website for free, and we can list you in our marketplace. And then, of course, today we have a program that is a 9-week program in Spanish that is starting, that is all about kickstarting your business. And I think with that, I will close. And I think we might go to questions, but I do want to let you go. No, this is the link in case you are interested in finding out a little bit more about SJPL home-based business daycare center program that is coming up. And there is a link to the business owner space. I'm going to post them on the chat. You have the link to our nonprofit organization's website where you can sign up for services or find out about the latest class that we have. And with that, I will close.
All right, wonderful, Mimi, nice job. Again, lots of great information. This panel is they've got all the information that you need. I encourage you, as you're thinking about your plans, that you consider contacting one or more of them to get the details. Mimi also mentioned that there are other businesses or business assistance organizations out there that are also willing to help you. So there's a wealth of opportunity to get the details that you need in order to have your business thrive. Don't think that you have to go it alone. There's help out there. I did want to mention that the Office of Economic Development, which is actually the place that Melina and Elizabeth and I work, has flyers on information about additional financing, which may be important to you, particularly if you're thinking about buying or acquiring a new location with new equipment. So there's information on finance as well as other resources that are available. I think Melina had a link to that. I hope that she has it handy because I seem to have misplaced it. But anyway, lots of good information there. We would like to take this opportunity to invite you to ask any more detailed questions that you might have. We're scheduled to run as late as 5 o'clock, and we can answer questions up to that point. So if there's details that you have, specific information that you have that might be of interest to the rest of the attendees, I invite you to put those questions in the Q&A section, and we'll have a panelist address those as we go along. I wonder, Mary, if I might ask you to provide the answer to the question that came in through a different channel, so that the rest of the attendees can also hear what the question was and what the answer was.
Absolutely. So the question was essentially if there are changes being made to the facility, does licensing need to be notified? And let me just make sure that I have that correct. Yes. So essentially, if you're a center or a home, if the changes that are being made are structural, of course, licensing needs to be made aware before construction happens, only because what you might run into is like a supervision issue or anything like that, especially in centers. There has to be 100% supervision. So we want to make sure that whatever changes you're making does not go against future, regulations that you might not know about. So of course, if it's structural, we need to know, but also if it's not structural, but let's say it might interfere dramatically with the schedule of the children, whether it's nap time, feeding time, whatever the case may be, we also want to know, only so that way we can kind of work with you as best we can to make sure that you're not impeding on their personal rights, essentially. And so again, it would just be a simple text or phone call, email to your licensing program analyst saying, hey, this is what we're anticipating. This is the start date, the end date. Is there anything I need to be aware of? And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, thank you very much. They'll put a note in the system. You're good to go. Sometimes, depending on the changes that are being made, it might constitute coming out and doing an inspection. For example, we have had facilities who have changed their garages to kind of convert them into like a little center. And that has required us to come out and make sure that everything's good to go. And then also it could possibly trigger the fire department coming out. So it's a chain effect. And we just definitely want to make sure that we are proactive and not reactive. Hopefully that answered the question.
She's thanked us in the chat, so I'd say that she's satisfied. So that's good. I have a question that came up. Unfortunately, I don't know much about the childcare industry, but Swan, I was wondering about the conditional use permit with that 6-month lead time. That's obviously a consideration for people who are thinking about starting up a business. They may want to do it quickly. They may want to get going. I guess I had 2 questions related to that. One, is there a way to use that time effectively and move the business forward in some fashion while the conditional use permit is being arranged? And then the second question is, if there's an existing business that has a conditional use permit in that location, can you take advantage of the fact that the conditional use permit is already there and therefore not have to be able to undergo that lengthy process?
Yeah, so let me answer the second question first. If the so the conditional use permit runs with the land. So if the conditional use permit is there on the property already and it has not expired, because sometimes if the conditional use permit is not being used, or the previous business left and it's been a year or 2 years, the conditional use permit may have been expired. So we need to check the language on that permit. However, if there's a conditional use permit in place, they're more than welcome to use that same permit for their incoming business. And the conditional use permit is a lengthy process. And sometimes people who are very confident with their process, they have a lot of support from their neighbors and everyone is supporting them. They feel like they shouldn't have any reason to believe that their conditional use permit will be denied. Most people would go ahead and move forward with the building permit process, because that may take up to, depending on your scope of work, it may take 3-4 months to go through that building review process. So if you're confident, most people, they do it concurrently, and that's fine too.
I remember working with a childcare provider previously who was looking at they were looking at making some modifications to a bank to make it possible for it to house a child care center. And there were a lot of improvements that were required in order to bring it up to, from a bank standard to a child care standard, and having that time to make those building improvements while the conditional use permit was under consideration made that a lot more feasible.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it takes a while for the process to go through things.
It really does, yeah.
And depending on the timing of the year, you may have to wait for the construction folks to be willing to come out, if it's raining or those kinds of things. So,
many aspects to consider, yes.
Yeah. All right, we haven't had a deluge of questions that we can answer. Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to bring up that they thought their presentation was just great, which I thought it was, but then they thought, oh, somebody brought something up and I should discuss that. Any panelists want to provide any final comments? Deborah, I see your hand moving.
Well, not particularly, but I just want to say that me and many of the panelists are throwing a lot of information at everyone. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or us, and I'd be happy to answer them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. all of you guys have done a fabulous job. Thank you very much, panelists, for providing the great information. I want to also thank the attendees as entrepreneurs. Well, as somebody who works with entrepreneurs, I know that sometimes the information isn't always available. I really appreciate the fact that you guys have made the decision to find out the information before you start immediately launching into things. Mimi also works with entrepreneurs a lot, and she has an additional comment that she'd like to make.
I just wanted to kind of direct myself to the translator, if
Okay.
case anyone listening on the, as part of the attendees, just to encourage them if they have any questions, that this is a safe space for them to ask them, and they have a lot of really good resources here. Vicente, if you can translate that.
Armando is translating right now.
Wonderful. So they invited the Spanish speakers to join the conversation if they were interested in doing so, and the question and answer is available. We can work out those pieces. Let's see, I mentioned earlier that there is an Office of Economic Development flyer, which hopefully you guys will be able to take advantage of. I also want to reiterate that this is part of an ongoing series of webinars. For those of you who have a facility and are interested in understanding more about the end of the eviction moratorium, that will be covered in next week on the 10th. We will also be having a variety of other topics. I also want to encourage you to, when the workshop is over, to complete the survey that we have put together there that helps us improve on the webinars that we're offering. Finally, I'd like to thank the interpreters. It's really important that we be able to connect up with our entire community. And so we really are pleased that they're able to help take some of the information that we have in English and put it into other languages, particularly Spanish in this case, so that everybody is able to benefit from the recovery that we are looking forward to with the end of the pandemic. So again, thank you very much to the interpreters. One last call for questions. All right, well, with that, I think we'll end the recording, and we'll look forward to seeing you at a future meeting. And thank you very much for being here. Again, thank you to all the panelists for providing the great information.
Thank you.
Bye.